New week, new Because of Sales podcast episode, and a new guest. We've got Sam Queen on in this one, who's the CRO at SendBlue. If you haven't heard the buzz about blue text messages yet, or should we call them iMessages, from your CRM for your sales team or for you as a salesperson, well, you're going to hear about it in this one. Now, this is not a paid podcast or anything like that, but I used to run an agency. We implemented this exact software into a lot of our sales teams, and we saw a very, very, very drastic increase in show rates, brand trust, and things of that nature. So in this video, we talk a little bit about Sam's background and how he ended up being the CRO of SendBlue, where he has, I think, a 20-person or so sales team. We talk about cool ways that him and his clients are implementing this into their daily workflows and how you can potentially use this all yourself. All that aside, Sam is a pretty entertaining dude, cool dude to speak with. I've known him for a little bit here, and I think you're going to like this episode a lot. So thank you guys for tuning in. Before we get into it, just a quick ask. If you're not subscribed to our free weekly newsletter, it is down below. It is the first link in the description. I want you to go down there and press, for you Mac users, Command and then click open that in a new tab while you still listen to this so I can tell you what this is about. Now, this is the part where you put your email in. Cool. Because of Sales is a weekly newsletter for free that keeps you up to date with what is happening in the world of people who sell things to other people. Okay, so we have some of the best salespeople and business owners on this podcast. We talk strategy, we talk game, and then we turn that into a newsletter, less than a 5-minute read every Wednesday morning with your coffee. We're going to pair that with some memes, some AI, some social posts, just so you're completely in tune with what's going on in the world of sales. Now, hopefully you've been able to put your email in. We only asked for your email, and now you're back to watching the pod. But if you did not do that, take 10 seconds, go down below, put your email in, and now let's get into the pod. All right, you guys, we've got Sam Queen here, CRO of SendBlue. Sam, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, what's up, Dylan? Thanks for having me on here.
Yeah, man, it's a good episode. I think there's some people that come on here and some of our audience can relate to what it is that they do or what they sell or the industry that they're in. But what you do applies to pretty much everybody who would potentially be listening to this. So I think a lot of good overlap there. Sam, let's take it back a little bit. Let's start before sales days, just talking about younger Sam. You weren't in sales, since you came out of the womb. Like, how did you end up in sales in the first place?
How did I end up in sales in the first place? I might have been in sales when I came out of the womb. I might have been. If it was the fundraiser for school or the fundraiser for the football program or the wrestling program, and there was, a spiff sitting out there, like I could win my own hoodie or I could get a jump rope if I raised enough money. I was going to go try to raise enough money to do those things. My parents would even help me. I remember like a Pennies for Patients drive in second grade. My parents said whatever amount of money you could raise for this cause, they would match. So I was out door knocking in my neighborhood in second grade trying to raise money for Pennies for Patients. So sales has always been a part of the brand for sure. And it really became the brand as the obsession with money. And it really is an obsession with money. Continued to grow and grow and grow and grow. And there's a lot maybe cooler jobs that exist in the world and jobs that maybe give you better stories to tell, but they don't pay as much as sales pays. And that's what I'm here for, is to get paid.
I should have probably asked you this before. I mean, maybe they can tell from the title, thumbnail, or wherever they find this, but you're CRO for SendBlue, again, a company that what you guys do applies to everybody. Can you give us the elevator pitch on SendBlue?
The elevator pitch on SendBlue: we will help you have more conversations with your leads. More conversations, more conversions, you'll close more deals. Primarily accomplish that by integrating iMessage into your CRM. So if you're listening, you're an iPhone user, then you get this. And if you're an Android user, you probably also get this because your iPhone user friends tell you about it every single day. That is that blue bubbles are superior to green bubbles, especially in the United States. The blue iMessage bubble just comes with a level of trust that the green bubble does not come with. And if you sell B2C or you sell B2B and you're using a CRM right now, you're probably sending green text through that CRM, and those green texts get associated with spam, with automation, with workflows, not with a real person. So the blue text really helps cut through all of that noise, and that's what we do. That was a long elevator ride.
Yeah, a couple stories. No, but dude, I mean, the reason I wanted to have you on here is because I've used the product personally. Before I started this company, I had a sales agency, and dude, we saw extremely positive results from integrating SendBlue or iMessage into our CRM. Show rates on calls went up, response rates on pre-call stuff went up. We got a lot more customization going, a lot of pre-call conversations that just like ultimately helped us make more money. So I'm a believer in the product. I know a lot of people who use the product, and I know there's a lot of people listening to this that should be using the product. So now that that is established, that SendBlue is legit. Going back, so you were selling when you needed to here and there, you found out you liked making money. How did you go about getting into an actual sales job, or was that not the first, I guess, official entry point?
Yeah, not the first entry point. I sold pretzels in the mall for about 4.5 years. That was the first real job. And then it was about how do I maximize the amount of tips I get in that cup in front of me with all these pretzels I'm selling. In college, my brother was actually managing a high ticket sales floor. And this is 7 years ago now, 8 years ago now. I'm 26 today. And it was an e-commerce dropshipping offer. And I knew he was making nice commissions from things he would sell. I knew I had the gift of gab, if you will. And I think there's an IQ level that comes to sales as well. Like there's a sales IQ or acumen. I think I possess a little bit of that, and you can learn that skill over time as well. So I gave it a shot. I started getting on the phones from my dorm room, taking sales calls. And the feedback loop with my brother was quite aggressive and fast. As far as how fast I would get my coaching and need to be able to make changes, he would sit and listen on the calls 3-wayed in while I take them, and then would Slack me the notes or things that I would need to do better. So I was getting like live coaching. And now there's way better tools to be able to do that. And that high ticket sales role, eventually I stopped going to college. I moved down to Florida, the high ticket sales mecca of the world, and started selling, and then started managing, and I've done many things since then. But that is originally how it started.
When you said you were taking these calls, the way that you're talking about it sounded like they were phone calls. Were you setting or closing right from the beginning?
Yeah, they were closing calls right from the beginning. I was selling a $2,000 e-commerce drop shipping offer, which are still obviously hot to sell today. Probably not super hot on the fulfillment end of things. I think I was listening to Tristan Workman talk with you, and he's like, yeah, I sold this e-commerce thing for a long time, but then people weren't getting fulfilled upon. And then I started to think I was doing a bad thing. I was like, yeah, I feel that, man. Like it's kind of how I started to feel as well when you're on an offer where you're maybe not so aligned with the outcomes. But I was successfully drop shipping, making money. So it made it a little bit easier to sell, but a lot harder to deal with when it comes to like the true success rate we were seeing with people.
No, for sure. That's definitely something you got to take note of when you're in the like high ticket space. Because yeah, you can sell your ass off and make some cash, but how sustainable is it if that company's not doing what they say they are? It's no fun. It's easier to just sell something that you can like 100% have conviction in, you know? Anyways, was there a moment that prompted you to drop out and move to Florida? Like you were doing well, you were on this team, I assume making some money, but was there like a particular moment where you're like, I need to drop out and move to Florida?
I went to school for finance, thinking I could be, like the next Wolf of Wall Street without maybe all of the addictions, maybe just stay addicted to money. And I was pretty good at doing that as far as school was and getting good grades and studying. But when I got on the phone and started getting paid from taking appointments that were booked to my calendar, which if you're listening to this and that's what you have right now and that's the environment you're in, you are blessed. Someone that is just taking appointments booked on their calendar. I started learning like, oh my gosh, I can take 5 calls and I'll close one deal and then I'll make 15% commission. I'll make 300. Oh, okay. Well, every call I take is worth $100 to me having on my calendar, whatever the math is. I can make way more money doing this than any degree that I'll come out of school with, no matter how good the job is that I'm going to get. I will not make the amount of money that I can make in sales. That was the moment, the math.
How far into the degree were you?
Just 1 year. I transferred everything to a community college. I'll put this on the record. Paid someone else to do all those classes for me because the math in my head was if I do this 40-hour class or whatever the workload is, well, that's 40 hours of sales calls I can take. And I know every call to me is worth this amount of money. Oh, and I can just pay this person only this amount of money. I got the degree. My mom wanted me to get the degree.
So before you became the CRO of SendBlue, you were running a company and you still run kind of on the side, CloseDr. I might butcher this, man, but I know you guys build CRMs and you kind of do consulting with sales operations related stuff. Is that right?
That's right. That's right. That was pretty well said.
Specifically with Close CRM, is that safe to say?
Yeah, the close is for close more deals. Close CRM happens to be my favorite CRM. I think the best CRM for sales reps. CloseDr happens to be the shortest domain that started with the word close that made sense. And that's how we landed on CloseDr.
I think it has a ring to it. How did you go from dropping out and slinging e-com courses to running like a sales operation agency business? You had to at some point have gotten your hands dirty with some automations or something in between there, right?
Yeah, I like to think I'm a little bit of a Zapier wizard for all my Zapier fans out there that also consider themselves wizards. I was partnered in a business called Agexa for a little over 6 years, and we would stand up businesses. I've probably tried to launch somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 or 50 different brands, coaching, e-learning brands. We try to find, the trending niche and then go find a person in a niche and then build a company around what they did. So that process, that repeated process of having to launch a sales team and a sales process and a CRM and a system and a funnel over and over and over and over again, got my hands pretty dirty. And while I don't have 40 successes under the belt, there are a couple in there. Biggest one is probably Pace Morby with Sub2. If you're familiar with his brand, that's about $40 million a year that runs at now. So these systems, I've learned to, make them very scalable. And after you do it over and over and over again, then people just start asking you. If you make a couple YouTube videos on it, people ask you even more. And then you have yourself an agency.
Yeah. I mean, I assume you closed for a bit here. You were a sales rep, individual contributor for a bit. And then you probably either A, saw some opportunity to do this weird thing with automations and Zapier, or B, you got to this point of like, all right, I'm tired of closing. Like, what's the next level? How do I multiply my, my earning or whatever? And at that point, I know people look at like sales management, some people operations. How did you end up doing the operations stuff from being a closer?
The operations piece was always the key for me to being a good closer. Like my first CRM was a stack of index cards and still like the most reliable CRM, in my opinion, in the world is a stack of index cards. You'll never lose a lead ever. And then it was a Google Sheets. And then I was using Infusionsoft or Keep. And then I got introduced to Close CRM. And along the way, I was typically responsible for, maybe not even responsible, but I took the initiative to be responsible for making sure the stuff works, making sure there's systems that you follow, processes that you follow. And when you can have those good systems in place to help you sell, selling becomes easier. Yeah, you got to know how to open a call and frame a call and ask questions to get pain and build a gap and all the sales stuff that you got to do. But the process and the discipline to the process is super underrated inside of a business. And the ones that are really, really scaling, they have discipline within those processes that help them scale. So it was just time to get maybe make a little bit more money running an agency. Not necessarily always where you make a little bit more money. Agencies have their costs too.
Especially operations.
Yeah, people are expensive.
Yeah. I mean, when I was in the sales agency, I was more on that operations side of it. And I know people, I've had people on here too, where they're kind of more in that technical agency model. And dude, it is pretty grueling, to be honest. Like, it can scale, you can do well for yourself, but it makes software look really sexy, or it makes like media look really sexy.
Yeah, when I first got put on to SendBlue, it was through a lead I was talking to that booked on my calendar for CloseDr to talk about their CRM. And they said, just pretty much in passing, they were like, oh, did you hear that you can put iMessage into your Close CRM account? And I heard that, and I'm like, that is the most cracked idea I have ever heard of. That is genius.
Did you ask them for like an introduction, or you just go do your own research and find these people?
Did my own research. It was a company called Raz at that point in time. So this is a year and a half ago now. And I go on their website, tryraz.com, and there's not a mention of the word blue. There was not a mention of the word iMessage. I'm like, this is the most confusing thing. The company was quite misaligned on what their value prop was and what the product was that they had. And all I'm thinking in my head is, all you have to put on the website is iMessage in your CRM. I think people will get it. I think the right person is going to get it and understand. Yeah, I took a demo. I tried to recreate it, actually. The next day that I learned about it, I reached out to a friend who recreated it in at night, which was pretty cool. Started referring business, and then eventually met everyone in Dallas last year, and then that's where the rocket ship pretty much started taking off.
So when you see or you hear of these people using blue messages in CRMs, and you're like, I'm going to try to build this myself, you tell your boy, like, how do you recreate that? Like, what was your first thought in trying to make a competitor to this business? Like, you're like, yo, dude, like, figure out how to hack into the Apple system and make these messages blue? Or like, how did you go about that?
Pretty much. It's my friend Nick Razaborski. Shout out Nick. He's a hacker, man. He's a hacker. That guy knows how to write lines of code. I have no idea how to do that. And I sent him my call recording, actually, from when I took a demo. And he called me up one day and he's like, hey man, I'm looking for my next idea, what's hot right now in like the sales space. And I'm like, dude, I just learned about this iMessage in your CRM. Like, this is the next big thing. Can you build this? And he just found what was the SendBlue API online, which is what Raz was leveraging for their platform before they just acquired SendBlue. And pretty much rebuilt it with the same SendBlue API that Raz was using. Because I'm thinking to myself, these Raz guys, they've got no idea what they're doing. This shouldn't be that hard. Just put iMessage-in-CRM on the website. That's it. And then, boom, you should have a ton of customers after you do that.
So what was the realization where you're like, you know what, I'm not going to do this, but I am going to refer clients over to them?
Nick wanted to go do something else, and I'm like, well, I don't know how to code. And Claude didn't exist yet, so that wasn't an option.
For sure. So you told me before, and you mentioned it briefly, you guys met in Dallas. I don't think that was the first time you met, but that's when you guys kind of really got together and got to know each other, and I assume kind of built a relationship from there. I feel like some people watching this, maybe they've seen your event shenanigans that you guys do with like the signs and the protests. If you guys aren't familiar, I'm sure if you just go to Sam's Instagram, maybe you'll find it there or something, like just a bunch of people in lab coats protesting.
We've spent enough money for the audience of whoever's listening to this or watching to probably be familiar.
Yeah. Oh, you run ads to that?
Yeah, that ad is our best performing ad, the first one.
Well, I know at like Go High Level and like just these other big internet or tech conferences you guys will pull up to and do your thing, or what?
We'll try to do like something that everyone else isn't doing. If you're just doing what everyone else is doing, 99% of people go to those conferences to go learn something, which is, I'm sure there's value in that. I know there's value in that. There's a different level of value when it comes to talking to people and building relationships and shaking hands.
All right, you guys, quick break in this podcast with Sam for a word from our sponsor. The sponsor is none other than the Serial Sales Community. If you guys are in sales now and there's something about your sales job that just bugs the hell out of you, you drive too much, the leads are bad. You don't get paid enough for what work you're actually doing, and you might have a buddy or someone else has it better than you for less work, and you're kind of mad, you're kind of jealous. Well, I would like to present to you the world of 1099 appointment setting or closing. So the whole concept is, hey, I have the skill of sales. There's people, online business owners such as Sam, that drive leads to a product or service, and they need people like you and me to take those sales calls. And so the serial sales community is not a sales training program. There's a million of those, and you can find hundreds of thousands of hours of free sales training on YouTube. But it is a business that quite literally helps you go from point A, being the sales job that you're in now that you might not like as much, to one that is remote, contracted, and lets you work from wherever and have a little bit more control over your schedule and your earnings. So if you're at all interested in exploring that new side of sales, if it's new to you, then go down below to the second link in the description. Check out the page there. If you want to chat with the team, feel free to chat. Mention Because of Sales, and we'll give you 5% off any membership you choose. Now, back to the pod.
I think, speaking personally, whenever I go to these events, like that's always what makes the biggest difference is like who I met there and who I stayed in contact with versus notes on a hotel sticky notepad, All right. So last year in Dallas, you had an extra ticket. You invited at the time, was he sole founder?
Alex is a co-founder.
So you invited SendBlue team down, and that's when, was it at the event or after where you kind of came on officially as CRO? Like, how did that go down?
It was at the event where the first idea was tossed out. And I'm thinking to myself, gosh, iMessage in your CRM is way sexier than me talking about building a closed CRM account or like building a system where no lead slips through the cracks or like even doubling your show rate. Still, to me, doesn't sound as sexy as iMessage in your CRM. My mind just goes wild when I hear that. So that's when it was first thrown out, and I'm thinking, man, if I could attach myself to this, kind of the way that I've associated my brand with Closed CRM and added a lot of value to them, and they've added a lot of value to me, like, I think this thing's way sexier. Like, what happens if I associate my brand with this thing that's way sexier to talk about? And that's kind of how it started, is like some clients that were sold would do onboarding with CloseDr, and I would set up their automations and their workflows. And then that would give me the opportunity to get familiar with someone's business and then sell them my services from there.
When you met with the SendBlue, I don't know if it was the whole team or just one of the co-founders, Alex, but did you tell them like, dude, I went on your website and you guys are like really screwing up right now?
Yeah. When Alex came out, so Alex, I had this extra ticket. I call up Alex. He's in New York. It's like midnight. So it's whatever in Dallas, 10 p.m. I'm like, yo, dude, I got this extra ticket. Do you want to be in this room? I think your ICP's in this room. Shows up next day. It happened that fast. And your question was,
did you like roast the way that they were selling this in order to become CRM?
Yeah. He was telling me about the acquisition of SendBlue, and he's like, yeah, and maybe we'll take the name or maybe we'll keep the company name as Raz. I'm like, my guy, SendBlue is a way better name for what this company is going to do. That's what we do. We send blue bubbles. We've got to get this messaging turned around, this targeting turned around. And it was the next week after that event, after we did the protest, which was an idea that we came up with pretty much on the spot there. It was that next week that prices went up 7 times and we were off with our new shiny thing.
Yeah. No, SendBlue is literally the perfect name. You mentioned it was like an acquisition. Did somebody else own SendBlue? Was it a competitor? Like, how did that play out going from Raz to SendBlue?
Yeah, there's a guy, Nikita, on our team, Nikita Jershow. He is the API developer, if you will. He's the one that really understands how to build the messaging capabilities, the blue messaging capabilities. So it was acquiring his brain, if you will, that took place. And when he was selling it, I mean, it was cheap. It was so cheap. It makes me wonder like how he was ever even planning on making money from it. So it's interesting how like, someone can have a skill set of like, oh, like you can send blue bubbles, and someone else can take the vision of, oh my gosh, if I get that in my CRM, I'm just going to get higher show up rates. And if I get higher show up rates, I'll make this many more dollars. Really applying the blue bubble to action and making more money is where it all came together.
Yeah. I think I got put in contact with you guys before you were officially a partner, and you guys were either still called Raz or about to be switching to SendBlue. So it was like early days. And even then, I could imagine, you guys improved the product and all the systems and processes since then. But even then, dude, just being, I'm not going to call us like a beta user, but we were early and it made such a difference. I could imagine some of the stuff that you guys do now that really makes a difference. All right. So you basically get in there, you say, dude, you got this all wrong. This product is awesome, but your marketing and sales sucks. Let me help you with it. And then boom, you're CRO. When you come on, dude, is this something where, CloseDr, was this a full-time commitment? Was it pretty easy to make that? Did you have to fire staff? Like, what was that like to go all in with this company? And then when you got in there, what were like some of the first initiatives when we're doing CRO things,
Yeah, there was a small existing book of business that was passed over to some other people. And the first initiatives were just then, how many sales calls can I just get back on? How fast can I document this script and what's actually taking place on these calls? How fast can I then get someone else to do it? But how can I do it first? I'm a big fan of doing all the things first, taking the calls, closing the deal, walking the path in front of the sales reps that I have on my team so they know it's possible, showing them the way, if you will. I was taking like January 1 of this year, 2025. I bet I had 40 demos on my calendar already because there was no one else talking about this. So running Facebook ads, pretty cheap.
Yeah, I could imagine. I mean, I'm sure you still get it to this day, but even back then, because you mentioned you guys basically created competition. People heard about what you guys doing. They wanted to do it too. But when you first were really pushing this out, booking a lot of sales calls, was there a lot of resistance to the idea that this was possible and the fact that like it can integrate with their systems, or like, was that a pretty easy sell?
When it first came out, I'd say it was a pretty easy sell. Like the pitch is like, do you get it? Do you understand what's happening here? And someone like you'd be like, I get it. Like you just take the green bubble that sucks and has the reply stop language and you make it blue. That's got to do something to make someone feel better. As the competition came on, things definitely get a little more challenging. The value prop becomes less about the blue bubble because that becomes more of a commodity. Right now you're talking about like selling a commodity, which becomes way hard. If the blue bubble is just a commodity, then what are people paying for? And they're usually paying for the outcome. They want the higher response rates. They want the higher show up rates. They want the higher close rates. They want the better setter to closer handoff and intro. They want to be able to triage leads more and get, more pre-call conversations going. The blue bubble will accomplish that. And then how you use it will accomplish that. Like if you take your SMS that you're probably sending from your CRM right now, my guess is the copy probably sucks because it does for most businesses. And you just put that horrible copy onto a blue bubble, that's not really going to move the needle the same way rewriting copy, like embodying the fact that, I'm a real person. I work at a business. Not like I'm a business texting you, but like I'm Sam and I work at SendBlue. And this is Sam from SendBlue texting you. I'm a real person and I need real respect from you. Like you came into my funnel, you want my thing. I want to see if you're like qualified to get that thing. Like, will you respect my communication and my attempts to reach out to you? And the green bubble just gets thrown to the side.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have any kind of, I'm sure you do, but any kind of numbers or rough idea on just like across SendBlue clients, what kind of lift they're seeing in response rates, show rates, all that after switching?
2x multiplier on the response rates. That one's for sure across industries. I was looking at an account this morning, coaching industry, 4x multiplier. One of the biggest lifts I've seen. It was like an 80-something% response rate on iMessage and 20 on SMS. Across industry, it's a culture thing. That's the thing about the blue bubble. It's not like an industry thing as much as it is like a culture thing in the United States. And as far as numbers go, I mean, we send over 1 million text messages a week right now for over 1,000 clients. That's a lot of text messages, a lot of conversations. We're not able to track show rate the same way we're able to track response rate. But there's enough people I've talked to and built case studies off of that, if you have a 50% show rate, we can probably get that to a 70% show rate. And a lift like that is a huge lift for a business, especially if they're selling something that's expensive.
Definitely. For those people that might be listening to this and they're this is the first time that they're ever hearing Blue Messages in the CRM is possible. Can you give them a crash course? Like, let's say it's a business owner or a sales manager. How do they actually get Blue Messages? Obviously, they work with you guys and pay you in some way, shape, or form. But like, what does that integration look like? Is it quick? Is it you go to a site, you log into a thing and you connect to Zap? Like, how does it actually connect into their CRM?
Yeah, if you're using Go High Level, that's our most native integration. We love Go High Level. It's probably about 50% of our customer base will just swap out Lead Connector with our SendBlue app. And then you just keep using Go High Level the way you're using it right now, except everything's blue. And you can do cooler things like create group chats or send voice messages or videos. If you use CloseDr or HubSpot or Follow Up Boss or Salesforce, those integrations I would say are a little less native, if you will, where you might have to leverage our Chrome extension to be able to send text to your CRM, or you might have to use the SendBlue workflow builder. So that would have been something you definitely didn't have when you were a customer, is now you don't even need to use the workflow builder of the CRMs. You can just build them inside of SendBlue, and they're built for iMessage workflows with our templates and best practices right inside of there. But someone that signs up today, if they wanted to send blue bubbles today, they would be able to send blue bubbles today.
Yeah. Is it something where you guys do like a bit of an onboarding process and help them do this, or is it super self-explanatory?
For the smaller business, we have a school community that they will self-guide themselves through. It's iPhone First Funnel certification is what we call it. It's an hour of content. They will learn the same best practices that we teach our customer success managers. They'll take a certification at the end. They'll pass that. And then we'll give them access to their lines so they can go out there and use iMessage the way it's supposed to be used, because it is different than SMS if you want better results. For the bigger business, the higher touch business, we are doing their onboardings. We are building their workflows with them, writing their copy with them, teaching their sales team, if they have a sales team, how to use it. Maybe we bring in, someone from our sales team to talk with their sales team, because a sales rep is ultimately the person pushing the buttons probably at the end of the day. So we need them to be good users of the tool too.
Yeah. Besides the bubble just being blue, which is, a pretty attractive feature, one thing that stands out to me is, you just kind of mentioned it, but the other capabilities that you have through sending iMessage, such as group chats, game changer, right? Or voice memos, or I don't know. I mean, you probably know better than I do, but there's a lot of different things you can do with it. I mean, what are, I guess, the biggest things similar to those that people can take advantage of when switching to SendBlue or something like that?
Yeah, even if you don't use SendBlue, use your personal iPhone. I guess you don't get the information in the CRM anymore, but if you want more people to talk to you, use your iPhone. More people in the United States have iPhones. If you sell something that's expensive, your buyer probably has an iPhone. When I first got into sales, I was using my iPhone like 7 years ago. Like, all my sales calls were done from my iPhone. All my pre-call texts to confirm appointments were done from my iPhone. What was I sending? I was taking videos before each appointment. You ever done that before for any of your leads? Like, you send them a personalized video. So I was taking videos before each appointment, sending them to my leads. So it's quite interesting how cyclical the journey has been of like using my iPhone to do sales, to like being obsessed over CRM and automation, SMS sequences and how to make better SMS sequences, to now kind of like going back to my iPhone and just putting it inside of the CRM.
What is something that you've seen, whether you built this or someone else did, that was just like insane, like a crazy contraption with SendBlue that, whether we have data to show that it worked or not is one thing, but something you were just like, wow, this is really creative and smart?
The group chats for sure. Like automating a group chat intro was the most crazy crack thing that I've ever been put onto. In this case, it was a business owner, the sales rep, and the lead. And the sales rep would create the group chat, and the sales rep would say, "Hey, lead, this is sales rep's name with company name." Send that off, and then they would send another message, double text, and say, I wanted to put business owner inside of this group chat with you so you had his number. That's cracked. And then the business owner started to send the appointment reminders, and we would look up what video to send based on what sales rep the call was booked with and what time of the day the call was booked. So there were 3 sales reps that maybe had, 18 different videos for each sales rep. So this business owner filmed close to 60 videos, and then we would use Zapier to find the right video, and then it would say, "Hey, I know you got your call coming up here with sales rep name at time of day," that was pulled for the exact video. And then AI voice message reminders from the business owner where you can use 11 Labs to say the lead's name in a native iMessage voice message. I mean, that's cracked. When I referred a client to Raz, it was an AI bot having a conversation, and the lead went, "Hey, like, is it okay if I text you tomorrow? Like, I know it's getting pretty late and I just want to be respectful because I know you're a real person." And I'm looking at this and I'm like, that wasn't a real person, but that blue bubble just comes with so much weight to it.
Yeah. It has the red receipts too, right?
No red receipts. Oh, on the voice messages. Yeah. A little like quirk to SendBlue is that you can see when people listen to your voice messages, which in sales, that's great.
So you could automate, like there's so many possibilities. As like operations minded person, that's a little overwhelming, right? You said this guy filmed 60 videos. I mean, that's a thing in itself, which is actually smart for like each closer for each time of day. But just when it comes to the voice messages, like as a sales rep, I can film a standard one and automate that to go out. I can have my business owner film a standard one. I can use AI to replicate my voice, replicate their voice, and then like make a custom message for this lead based on the information that they submit, name, appointment time, whatever else on their company. And then not to mention, before a call, maybe there's multiple touch points. Like there's so much possibility here. I just don't see like if you actually can find the time to build with this and just implement like 1 or 2 of these systems, how you don't just like see an ROI as long as your business is already making money, right?
Probably not your Hail Mary that you want to throw. I don't want to be that for anyone, but you want to send some iMessage? Yeah, that usually moves the needle quite fast.
It's like if you don't have a working business, Blue Message isn't going to make your business work.
No, it will not. If you're a spammer doing cold outreach, SendBlue will not make you.
I was going to say, when it comes to, all this stuff happening, dude, with A2P, SMS, just like increased barrier to entry. And also like, I mean, I'm sure you've seen this stuff. I think in Texas, they're like cracking down on SMS for unsolicited messages. Like, how does Blue Messages play into all of that? Because I know it's different because it's not SMS, but it's still a message. Like, how do you guys kind of see that and then advise clients on that?
How do we see that? So A2P is application to phone. So application to phone is like the cloud. A real device does not exist. The phone number is not real. And the carriers let you leverage these, virtual phone numbers to send text for your business and integrate with your CRM. And 4 years ago, 5 years ago, you used to be able to sign up for Go High Level, CloseDr, any CRM or Tulio, the main provider, get a phone number. And if you wanted to send like 100,000 texts today, like, do you have 100,000 phone numbers? You can text 100,000 people. Here's how much it costs. Boom. And you send out a text. Obviously, that got exploited. Duh. You made it too easy for everyone. So because it was too easy for everyone and the spam, we all get it. I get a spam text every day. You probably get a spam text right? Some of them are even iMessages sometimes. So because it got exploited so much, the government starts putting a little pressure on the carriers, and it's like, carriers, hey, what are you going to do about this? And the carriers say, well, hey, why don't we just like vet? That's all they're doing, right? They're vetting the use cases that can get one of our phone lines. And that's where the A2P10 DLC registration then comes from there. The pressure that the carriers were getting. So if you don't have, opt-in language on your website, or the right information in your privacy policy or terms, or, you're in a restricted business class that can't send text, like you sell a crypto offer, maybe like you can't even send a text message if you sell a crypto offer. You can't talk about cryptocurrency on A2P monitored lines. So I'm of the thought that spam is a bad thing. Of course, duh. But I'm also of the thought that like doing business is a good thing. And can you like do business without being a spammer? Of course you can do business without being a spammer. And too many real businesses can't do business anymore because of this new process that was put in place where it might take you weeks or months, or maybe you never even get the ability to get a phone number to text through. The Texas laws, I guess, are good if you live in Texas, but if you want to do business in Texas, oh my gosh, did it just get so much harder to do business in Texas? When those Texas laws came out, our CEO, Rob, did all of the paperwork, answered all of the questions, provided all of the documentation. And that was, I don't know if you've had to go through it. It was hours and hours and hours and hours of work. And then you have to put up a $10,000 bond that if you break a rule, Texas already has your money. So there's just a $10,000 bond that is sitting out there that exists in a world of maybe if we break a rule. I don't even think we've heard anything back from like if the registration is confirmed, or of course we're dealing with the government. It's not going to be like the quickest process in the entire world.
Yeah, they're like shut down right now, aren't they? Still. But this was a while ago. This was like months ago when that came out. So I don't know, dude. I honestly don't know a single, I mean, I might just be on an island here, but I don't know anybody who's gone and done that.
We like to follow the rules. Yeah, I don't know anyone that's done it either other than us. I mean, when we make phone calls, we scrub, the state DNC list, we scrub the national DNC list, we have all of the Texas documentation. If you get a new sales rep on your team, you have to like update the Texas documentation. I think it's like every 6 months. You have to tell them who works there and all your landing pages and all your websites. And it's asking questions like, do you make income claims? If you do make income claims, provide 50% of your customers' info and, all of the proof to support each customer and their claim. I think we had to upload a list of our customers.
Yeah.
It was.
That's crazy.
It was intense. It was really intense.
No, that's crazy. And then so if you break it, they just take the $10,000 that they already have.
I guess that's probably like the start of what would happen if you were to, break rules. But these regulatory agencies, they do these big fine numbers to ideally, people just like don't ever even get interested in wanting to break the rules in the first place. Like $10,000 per instance of like, oh my gosh, imagine you have a rogue workflow or something, or you run a Facebook ad and someone puts in the wrong phone number. Heck, I put in the wrong phone number when I opt in for people's stuff.
Yeah. Are you the sales manager too, technically, at SendBlue?
I was for about 4 months before I brought on my first sales manager. I have 2 sales managers right now, 3 sales managers, 2 for our inbound generated leads, and then 1 for our outbound biz dev team.
What's the landscape look like on the sales team? You guys SDRs, closers, and other support staff, or what? Like, how big is the team?
The 3 managers and then about 20 account executives right now. All the account executives have the same title.
We've definitely shared your job posts a lot in the community that I run. And then we were talking about it before, but we had an event and 3 of the account executives were there. One of them was there last year too. And I don't think he was working for you last year. So small world.
Did you send Jackson?
Jackson
Oliver?
Yeah, he was there last year as well.
He's a beast.
Yeah. Well, dude, so 20 sales reps, you have an inbound team, you have an outbound team. Are you running contractors? Or didn't even ask, you guys bootstrap? Did you raise money? Like, what's the landscape?
I was not a part of the raising money, but Rob and Alex, the co-founders, went through YC, Y Combinator. Are you familiar with
Yeah.
Y Combinator? Cool. For the folks that aren't familiar, it's a high-ticket coaching program. That's exactly what it is. It's a coaching program where they give you money for a portion of your business, and then you go out to San Francisco and you take their classes and network with their people and get in their community. And then they give you money and they bet on hopefully you being smart enough with a good enough idea to go turn it into the next Airbnb or the next Uber. So that is where the initial funding came from. And as far as I understand it, how an acquisition was able to take place. But from there, we've pretty much been able to feed everything just from cash flow on the business.
Yeah, that's the cool thing too. I think when you come from some of this like high ticket online business background, you learn how to build a business that's profitable instead of just raising and then spending all the money and raising again and stuck in that cycle. I did want to ask you, so we have people from all different industries probably watching this that will watch this. And is there anybody or any industry or any service that you guys are not confident in your ability to help with SendBlue? Or is this really like anybody who's using a CRM that wants the effects, like you can have them?
If you use your personal cell phone, you could be served in any industry because you have, reliable line and source to reach out to people on. Now, you can't use your personal cell phone and go text 100 new people tonight. Like if I take my phone right now and I put 100 new contacts in here and I try to text 100 people that don't know who I am, probably at some point along the way, I won't be able to send another text message because I'll have been blocked and shut down for a little while. And then maybe Apple will let me back on. And that's because Apple knows me as someone that's existed in the Apple ecosystem for a very long time. Or maybe if I got in a lot of trouble, I could call Apple and be like, hey, can you unblock me? But if you just use the phone like a normal person uses a phone, then you're going to be great and probably going to work in any industry. Now, what people don't use phones like normal phones, real estate people and insurance people don't really like to use phones like normal phones. They like to use phones like marketing tools and marketing channels. And iMessage isn't built for that. iMessage can't really support that because that's kind of what people associate with spam. And I'm not trying to attack my real estate agent and insurance agent friends and folks out there. It's just not what iMessage is built for. Now you get an inbound lead and then you want to talk to that lead that is like expecting you to talk to them. Your chances at talking to them will be exponentially higher if you talk to them through iMessage versus putting reply stop at the end of a message like you have to do with an A2P line. I mean, that's the worst call to action in the world. Reply stop, a horrible call to action.
Yeah. I remember when we were onboarding, we had these workflows in place that were reply stop type workflows for like call reminders and follow-ups and stuff like that. And I remember, I don't know if it was you or someone on the team, like looking at some of the scripting and you're like, dude, this needs to sound like someone with an iPhone.
Probably me. Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
me.
probably. And it was like a joking moment, but what does that even mean, dude? Because like I could infer, you can infer, but like for someone who, again, is just pretend they don't even know what that means, what does that mean?
For businesses, they're building workflows. I think this is the problem. For businesses, they're building workflows on their computer. And their computer's maybe like a 13-inch monitor. Maybe they got it up on their 30-inch, curved monitor. And that little window that they're typing in is a not so little window that you're typing in when it's on your monitor screen in front of you. And then if you build workflows like most business owners build workflows, you probably just build it one time and then you'll never go back to it. And you're probably the business owner building the workflow, or even worse, you have someone building the workflow on your team that like isn't in sales or marketing, but they're just like the workflow builder and they have no idea how to talk to leads. Well, then you find yourself like writing like a business. And if you don't send those texts to yourself, then you probably never open up your phone to see what those texts actually look like on the screen in front of you. And in most cases, those texts will look like bricks. We'll say break the bricks. They'll look like really long paragraphs where you'll indent. And because you have to pay for SMS by segment you're sending, why are you going to send 2 texts? You're going to be like, well, let me just fit this into like one longer text instead of sending 2. It's going to be way more expensive if I send 2 texts. So you write this really long text and then you sign it off with like, love Sam Queen from SendBlue, as if you're writing an email, which is what so many people do. And then when it lands in someone's inbox and they click on it, it just doesn't look like any other message they've gotten before from someone that they're talking to. It probably looks like the messages of the people that have sent them those messages before, but you're probably not talking, you're probably not responding, you're probably not interacting with that message because you've never had someone talk to you like that before. You don't text your mom like that. That's how I break it down. Like, how would you text your mom? Unless you're really angry at her. Maybe then you'll send her a really long paragraph.
Yeah. So is it that like Apple has just like a screening mechanisms where it's like they think you're a robot and then you get deliverability problems, or like how is the problem detected and then how do you know if you are having that problem? Is it deliverability or is it something else that is affected?
Yeah, just like SMS lines, like iMessage line can get blocked. And then if you get blocked, you can get blocked from like a carrier level where you can't send SMS. You can get iMessage blocks where you can't send iMessage. You can get both and you're completely bricked and your phone number will never work again. And those things will happen if you're doing things you shouldn't be doing. Like SendBlue internally, we don't get our phone numbers blocked. Like we're texting leads that opt into our funnel and then, they consent to getting communication. They're expecting us to talk to them. So as long as you're talking to people who are expecting you to talk to them and using it in that manner, then you'll be quite successful with it. So then that's our job at SendBlue and how we have to equip people with being successful with it. And we have almost 10 customer success managers on the team now. Their job, make you successful with iMessage and try to break the bad habits that you carry with SMS. Like you can do whatever you want on the A2P line, text however you want, but do you want a different result? If you want a different result, you got to text different.
Yeah. So how has your approach or SendBlue's approach changed to selling the product now that, the Blue message itself isn't as much of what people are after because there's other players in the market, but it's like, you mentioned the outcome or the result. So how have you guys seen your process shift over time given, the evolution of the market?
Our process has stayed the same in a lot of ways of like, we run a pretty buttoned up sales process. I think running a buttoned up sales process will get you a lot of respect from buyers that can see that like, oh, this business, like they sell a sales tool and their sales process is really, 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 really good. Like that holds some weight to my buying decision. The outcome is a super important part of it. If you're charging some of the prices that people are trying to charge, I don't know how you're going to get any support on what you're looking to accomplish. Hopefully you know how to do it all on your own, but it's a very different tool than SMS is. And now things are becoming a lot more about the features for us as well. So our workflow builder that rolled out a couple of weeks, we've already got almost 200 customers using our workflow builder, which is like, it's a beautiful tool where you can drag and drop and, make iMessage workflows for your new leads very easily. And then some other, as of right now, very top secret things that we're working on that are going to help people get higher response rates and higher connection rates with their leads. Those things will carry through as differentiators. What people say about you will carry through as differentiators in communities, and if they say nice things or not. If people say bad things about SendBlue, they'll say it's expensive. All right.
Yeah.
We'll take that one, I guess, compared to what?
Now that you're, CRO, pretty significant part of this company, what is the vision for you guys as far as continuing to grow? You already have a pretty big sales team. I take it maybe we want it to get a little bigger, but where are you guys really trying to go with SendBlue? I'm curious if you have any like big goals in mind for the team.
The big goals, the driving mission for me at least, and that I may or may not have kind of like spread amongst the culture at SendBlue, is I'd love to move into the Salesforce Tower one day in New York. That would be like the trophy, if you will. Can you have the big skyscraper in the big city, and can your logo be on the side of it? That sounds like a cool trophy to me and a cool place to get to. How will we get there? We'll probably have to keep marketing the way that we market right now. People say they like our marketing, so that's good. People say they like our brand, so that's good. Can we just build enough products that reach enough people? And Tulio sends green text, and they do about $4 billion with a B dollars in revenue a year. So there's probably a little bit more there for us. We'll just have to find what channels to go through to go up market, right? Maybe not every business owner, most want to go up market and get the bigger clients. And enterprise sales are not the same as one call close. They're not the same.
Have you seen some of these bigger players like Twilio try to adopt the Blue Message technology?
I haven't seen anything like Tulio try to adopt it. I've heard other providers and, phone carriers like maybe rumor it, but it is hard. It's a hard thing to get into and figure out. And then if you're figuring that out, you're probably not figuring out the thing that you're focused on right now, and focused on too many things. That's probably not going to help the company grow. So we want to stay focused on one thing at SendBlue as much as possible as well.
Yeah. So if I'm a business owner and I listen to this and I'm like, hey, man, this Sam guy's not too bad. What's up with these Blue Messages? We'll put all the links and stuff down below in the description. But would you just be like, yeah, dude, book a demo with our team? Or do you have resources for people to learn more? Or where would you point this person?
If you've listened to this, then you're a legend. You're a legend if you've made it this far. You should probably just DM me on Instagram at the Sam Queen. That would be the best way to get in touch with me. And if you want SendBlue, yeah, book a demo. Talk to my team. Hopefully they run a really buttoned up sales process with you and you feel that.
Cool. Yeah, we'll put all your links down below. I think we have them already, but I think that's a good spot to wrap up, man. A little backstory on who you are, how you got into sales, how you got into SendBlue, and then some of the cool stuff y'all are doing. I think this is one of those episodes where it's like, maybe run it back a little bit in the future and you might be in a completely different spot. We'll see.
Hopefully. Yeah, hopefully. We will be. Even
from when we first started using it to now, it seems like you guys are a completely different company. So it's hopeful. Yeah.
Yeah. We've 10x'd in size. This will be like we'll go schedule it and it'll be like the Mr. Beast, video where he uploads talking to himself in 10 years. That's what this could be.
For sure. All right, dude. Well, we've held the listeners for a good amount of time. I think that's a good place to wrap. So I appreciate you coming on. All you guys listening, Sam's links down below, and we'll see y'all next week.
Thanks, Dylan.
All right, guys. That was a pod with Sam. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for making it this far. If you're a loyal Because of Sales listener and reader of our newsletter, really, I would appreciate that you subscribe, because we're on the path to 500 subscribers. By the time you're reading this, if this is at all recent, we're not there yet. We will be there soon. And I wanted to ask you very directly, please go and subscribe to our podcast. It means a lot. This is the business that I want to work on for the next however many years. This is kind of my big business that I want to dedicate a lot of my effort and time towards. And it would mean a lot if you went down below and pressed subscribe before you exit out of this video. If you want to connect with Sam, all of his links are going to be down below. If you want to learn more about SendBlue, I think he said to DM him on Instagram. So let him know where you came from. Get SendBlue installed into your business. It changed the game for the business that I was running and the clients that we had. And that's this episode. Before we wrap it up, you guys, please go down. First link in the description. I'm going to ask you before and after every podcast, if you want a pulse on the state of selling as a sales rep, sales manager, business owner, if you are tied to the part of the business that needs to sell things to someone else, this newsletter is for you. It's going to make your job easier. It's going to help you get more out of your job. It's going to keep you up to date with everything that you need to know in terms of what's working, how it's working, and how you can implement that. And we do that through sending all sorts of stuff to your inbox every single Wednesday for free. So go down below, first link in the description, subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Peace.